Hi guys, how are you all doing? It's been a minute and I'm so sorry that it took me a while to upload this particular video, but thank you for coming back to watch this particular video and even more, and please do share, but above all come with me and let's go record stories. And I just want to know, guys, how are you all doing? How relevant is the stories I share with you to what you believe in and what you think the world, but especially the African continent, should really embrace when it comes to, building our own country, our own continent, to paint an image of peace, but also show some of the narratives that we really need to unlearn for a very long time, portraying Africa to be a hotspot, a continent for violence and not really peace and all these beautiful things we could see. So do share your thoughts on the comment section and let's have a conversation.
Thank you.
A sunrise 5 minutes before we arrived at Bole Airport in Addis Ababa. And I will tell you something, guys. I don't know if you probably know by now my destination, but at the Bole International Airport in Addis Ababa, it's a very beautiful airport. It's really huge. And there's just a lot of things, like activities happening in this particular airport. And yeah, we got to Addis Ababa around 6:30, 7:30 ish. We're in Ethiopia. Most of the times, you find that this particular process is usually very fast. It's usually moving very fast because people are on transfer. They're moving towards their next destination. But today, it wasn't as such, and it was such a slow day. And as we move, we were headed towards our next destination, and in this particular time it's very early and it's very cold, so moving towards the next zone for my departure. And I met people. Look at Amira is from Ghana, and we had a lot of time to chat because again I have a whole 5 hours delay, not even delay, it's just a stop. So it was communicated, so I have a lot of time just to do a lot of things. One of them is to catch up with a few friends right in this particular space, of course, airport. And I also have work to deliver. Look at me there. I had 2 essays to complete, so I was just ironing them up and then send. I also got to meet 2 people. There was this guy from Tanzania, and I guess he was headed towards Russia. And remember, Russia and is not very stable right now, at least for the from what we hear from the mainstream media. And you know the root causes, which of course the media tells you what they want to tell you. But this friend of mine was headed there, and he shared a lot of stories that I would wish I'd recorded some, but due to some particular issues I may not be able to upload. But those particular information will be able to inform me on what to do next, especially having people tell their stories on how their view about what's happening in the world, especially on the Russian-Ukraine crisis. But I don't want to talk about that right now. So I'm here for 5 years layover, and we're going to do a lot. Yep. And so while I enjoy my 5 hours layover, I got to learn a few things. One of those things is about this particular airport, which is Bole International Airport, which is the largest airport in Ethiopia, right? With so many destinations. The Ethiopian airline serves so many other destinations. And Bole International Airport is the 5th largest airport in Africa. Of course, the first one being Tambo, I guess in South Africa. Then there's Cairo, Cape Town, Mohammed, and then we have Addis Ababa. So it tells you how pretty much the airport is really big. Also, it has 2 terminals. So the total number of gates under each terminal is 11. So it tells you how, again, it is so huge. And one thing that someone also shared with me is that it also has 2 runways, right? And while I was seated here, trust me, I was able to record and document how many flights leave per hour, right? So after every 10 to 15 minutes, there was a flight leaving to a specific destination. And during my 5 hour layover, I recorded close to, can I say 30? Yeah, they were around 30 actually. So guys, let's talk about the peace context in Ethiopia. I think these some of the things that I'll just be highlighting one country at a time. So maybe let's start with Ethiopia, and please let's have a conversation by just sharing our thoughts about um, the kind of peace each country in Africa enjoys, and what then can we learn from those particular situations, and how the country operates its issues when it comes to violence and how they overcome. And so we've all heard about the Tigray conflict, and conflict between the government of Ethiopia and forces in its northern Tigray region that has thrown the country into a bit of turmoil. And we all know Ethiopia as the most populated country in Africa. Guys, would you be knowing the first populated country in Africa? And probably the third, now that Ethiopia is the second most populous country in Africa. So please do leave that in the chat box section so that we can have a conversation. Apart from being the headquarters of African Union, which of course Ethiopia plays, it is also a major player in the Horn of Africa due to its strong military role in the region, and it plays a host to most refugees, close to 850,000. So guys, again, here is my water. I'm enjoying my water while I do a little bit of research and talk to people here and there, but also ensure that I keep myself hydrated while I wait for my next destination in the next few minutes. Yeah, so like I said, so Ethiopia plays a host to almost 850,000 refugees, mostly from South Sudan, Somalia, Sudan, and I think Eritrea. Yeah. And it is also one of the largest contributors to the UN and the African Union peacekeeping missions in the world. So again, fighting has been going on in this particular country for the last few years, and it has destabilized the country leaving thousands of people dead and so many others, in very uh, bad conditions, famine, and people also just running away from this particular area.
So we're headed out. Headed out to Djibouti. See you in the next 1 hour. Bye.
Yeah, and so the root causes of this particular crisis can be traced to back to the Ethiopia system of government, and since 1994 Ethiopia has had a federal system in which different ethnic groups control the affairs of its region. It has about 10 regions, and it became more prosperous and stable by then. But then there were concerns about routinely being raised about human rights violation and the level of democracy, which eventually led to protests, leading to a government reshuffle that saw one Mr. Abiy Ahmed appointed the prime minister. And so maybe a little bit about Mr. Abiy and how he comes into play. Mr. Abiy liberalized politics. He had set up a new party called the Prosperity Party and removed key Tigrayan government leaders accused of corruption and repression. And the cause is the rivalry between the previous ruling party, of course, which in this particular time we're referring to the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front, EPRDF. And of course, they were a rival to the current administration, which is called the Prosperity Party, which is a political party led by one, or rather the incumbent Prime Minister, Mr. Abiy Ahmed. Meanwhile, Mr. Abiy Ahmed ended a long-standing territorial dispute with the neighboring country, which in this case is Eritrea. And this earned him a Nobel Peace Prize in 2019. I can remember how I celebrated really his win by then, because again there was that huge turmoil and things were not really doing well in Ethiopia. But even the image that painted in Africa was really a good one, because again, winning a Nobel Peace Prize isn't just a small win. Yeah, so again, this moves won Mr. Abiy populist acclaim, but again caused unease among critics in Tigray. And Tigray leaders saw Mr. Abiy's reforms as an attempt to centralize power and destroy the Ethiopia's federal system. And again, since then, more than 2 million of Tigray's 6 million people have fled their homes since November last year but one. But according to my own research, there's also a concern that the conflict could further exacerbate ethnic tensions and could lead to the breakup of the country. Those are just my words. As I was just sharing with one of the Ethiopians whom I'd met, and just talking about what the situation is like from my understanding, but also to do a little bit documentation of what that then means to countries bordering Ethiopia, but the Horn of Africa at large. And I think it's at this point that I then invite all of you to share your thoughts, your concerns about this particular context of Ethiopia having conflict issues. And of course, I know that peace is very much possible. And sooner or later, I'm very sure that the conflicting parties will come to a mutual agreement and forge a working relationship way forward. So do leave your comments, ask those questions. Do you have any thoughts about the context I've shared? Please do share with me. And here goes Djibouti. One thing I've remembered is that you remember in primary school, in social studies especially, of course we used to learn about African countries and their capital cities. I remember those questions like, what is the capital city of Kenya, of Tanzania? And then for Djibouti it was so easy because you know how the name of the country is the capital city. So Djibouti is the country with its capital city as Djibouti. It was so easy you don't even need to cram that. Like, it was so easy and something I really am proud to have passed through. And yeah, so we are here. Be expecting stories. Do share this particular video, do comment, ask those questions, but above all, subscribe, and thank you always for watching. Kita